wood, the logs, and put it into a container, and then use steam to kind of get out of the camphor oil. Then you have to let it settle, and when it's cooled down, it will become the cubes, or sand. And with the sand, you can use in many different aspects or ways. And it says out of 600 kilograms of the camphor logs, you only get, say, 15 liters of camphor oil. So you know the production is not so easy, and therefore the price should be rather high. And the natural camphor is not only used for medical use, for a lot of different uses like celluloid, or for the making of films. They don't use camphor anymore. So here are some pictures of the Japanese colonial period. It's about the same. What the procedure is about the same. You can see the workers have to build up some cottage in the remote area, in the mountainous area, to produce its own site. So the cottage here, they got the logs here, and started to chop it up. Nowadays we have the machinery. Earlier they have to only use the axe, use their hand to chop up, and then kind of to distill it. So that's the cooling process. Like all the pressed thing will be left here in these containers outside to let it cool down, and then you get the substance of the camphor. So with the establishment of the Taiwan province, a new governor general was sent to Taiwan by the Qing dynasty. This is the person, the Liu-Ming-chuan, we spoke about several times. So Liu-Ming-chuan tried to stabilize the production by stabilizing the supply of the raw materials. And in this case, well, in order to do so, you have to first of all establish political order in the mountainous areas. So therefore, to work with the, well, at that stage we call it barbarians, was one of the top priority. And Liu-Ming-chuan's reign didn't last long. 1895, Taiwan was ceded to Japan. With the Japanese arrival, the Taiwanese camphor production started a new period, a new chapter, because as I mentioned, Japan was once a major camphor suppliers in the world market, but they quickly exhausted the camphor trees, the tree supplies, and therefore the camphor business in Japan stopped. So when the Japanese officers arrived in Taiwan, they realized, or they know that it is very important for them to control the materials by planting more than necessary, so to guarantee, to make sure that the logs will be available. So after the first stage of pacifying the local riots, then the Japanese started to recreate the order and started to reoperate the camphor business. The Japanese colonial government then, after say 300 years of colonization, Taiwanese southern parts were already developed as the rice paddies or sugar, or for the sugar plantation. So the only possibility to start the camphor business is actually on the northern part of Taiwan. So Japanese started to set up some camphor boards in Taipei. You know, this is Taipei, Hsinchu area, Miaoli area, Taichung, and then Luodong area. So it's the main areas for the camphor production. And the monopoly bureaus was set up. Was actually originally meant for the control of some items the Japanese wish to put under control. For example, opiums or sugar, because opium is not supposed to be sold on the market, but Japanese sold in the opium trades a huge profit. Therefore, they monopolized it. And as for sugar, the sugar business is very important. Japanese were very crazy about sweet stuff, and therefore the sugar production was actually meant for Japanese inland, and therefore they have to make sure the supply is sufficient, the price is low enough. So the best way to manage it is to put it under the monopoly. Then the third thing would be the camphor, because again, the profit is really attractive. So this is the Monopoly Bureau.
What is this building now?
It's still a...
I know it's still there.
Yeah,
it is fancy, but I don't know what it's for.
You know, where?
It's by Taipei-MING, like NTU Hospital, right?
Have you been to the CHOU Memorial Hall?
Yeah, if you drive from there to Taipei-MING, you go past it.
To where?
火车站那边。如果你从先开始。
We have a Google.
Because I was like, what is this building for now? It's up there.
Okay, you can see this is the CHOU Memorial Hall, and this is the Roosevelt Road. This is the President's Residence, right beside it, Nanchang Road. This is the Monopoly Bureau, the site of the Monopoly Bureau.
But what is it for now?
It is a monument.
Oh, it's no use.
Oh well, it's a monument only. Yeah, it's still owned by the Taiwan Tobacco Company, right? Taiwan Wine and Tobacco Company. It's their property, but it's a monument. Take a look there then. It's very easy. This is the MRT, Xiaonanmen, right? And this is the MRT station, Zhongzheng CHOU Memorial Hall, and in between. If you pass by here, the Roosevelt Road, this is the Central Bank of Taiwan. You see a lot of young boy walking around with nothing particular in mind. This is the guard for the president's residence, right? Just this area. So make sure you take a look. The building is still there, right? And the building is very of vital importance for the Taiwanese history. The early incident started from there, just because the monopoly, right? Therefore, for a long time, the best sold cigarette in Taiwan is called Long Life, right? How can you get long life with cigarettes? So ironical, but well, this is monopolized. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome. So this is the Monopoly Bureau. And And the Monopoly Bureau even operates some factories for the production of the further production of the camphor. So this is actually one of the factory there. And you can see that this picture is taken during the Japanese colonial time. The Aborigines were working on camphor. As you can see here, it's chopping off the camphor logs. It means a lot of labor work. And this is in Daxi. Daxi is in Taoyuan area. Sanxia, Daxi, this area, were actually famous for two things. The dye, the indigo, for the dyeing of the cloth, right? The blue color, and the other thing would be actually the forest products, for example, camphor. And you know that in Miaoli area, there's a very famous place called Sanyi. Sanyi is very known for the sculpture, the Buddha sculpture and so on. It was only because in Sanyi area they have a lot of camphor logs, and this is the best thing for sculpture. Okay, that's the license that your man in the film talked about. That you have to have this permits. With the permit, you can purchase, you can buy and sell camphor. And this is the wooden thing with a seal of Taiwan Governor General's Office Monopoly Bureau. Only with these the cards, the little plates that you are entitled to do the business. And as the man said, in order to get this license, you have to pass examinations. And it is always a family business. So your man in the film says he's the third generation to produce the camphor. Okay, the Japanese actually kept very detailed records on the trees, on the whereabouts of the factories, distilleries, and so on. And that's for tax purposes. All these records was kept in very well in Taiwan. So you have a lot of entries like deeds, buying, selling, the license, and so on. And this is Japanese record of the camphor manufacturing. You can see here that it's actually the pharmaceutical factory using camphor as raw materials to produce further medicines and so on. And they set up new camphor factories during colonial time, as you can see here. But we know that all the camphor which is distilled on the site, it's impossible to bring all the logs out to the factories for the distillation. So they produce the ready-made camphor and bring it to this factory. In these factories, the further products will be made here. So, and as you can see here, this is in the Monopoly Bureau Taipei branch. The collecting places or collecting office in Jiaobanshan. You know where Jiaobanshan is? Taoyuan Daxi, yeah, Jiaobanshan. You have a water dam there, very beautiful place. The Japanese tenor used to have a residence there. Perhaps he used it only once. But this area is very beautiful. And again, Daxi. So this was actually a station for the collecting of camphor. And as you can see here, most of them were actually Taiwanese, hired by the Japanese government. even though he was actually in Japanese kimono, this should be all Taiwanese. And at that stage, I think the camphor business is really profitable, and the employees will be paid properly. So they're all dressed in, as you can see, in 1930s, 1940s, in Western style costumes. So must be thinking great of themselves. Okay, that's the one of the storage of the ready-made products. Okay, again you can see this is the camphor produced in this area. So in the film you can see this huge container for distillation, and this was actually in the film it was made of steel, made of metal, and this one in the early days they were actually made of wood, made of logs, and therefore the efficiency mustn't be so good. So you consume a lot of trees or fire to get less steam. That's to pack up the camphor for further usage. And that's the workers' cottage here in the film you can see. And the camphor business starts right after the Second World War, right? In the film, the owner of the factory said the Taiwanese camphor once made up 70% of the world market, but soon after the Second World War, it's only around 5%. And everything was actually replaced by the chemical stuff, the chemical product. And therefore, nowadays, the camphor production here in Taiwan is only meant for tourism, not for the original purposes. But in the film, the owner said that it's important for them to start to develop new products containing or made with consistence of camphor. For example, soap, right, or other new products to keep this camphor industry going. And talking about the camphor for tourism, you can see that a lot of cottage still existing, and the railway station here is called Zhang Nao Liao, meaning the cottage for camphor. People still go there, take a look, and just to memorize the good old days. So a lot of products was actually used. Here you can see that the Zhang Nao Liao station, and here you can see that they even set up the utensils or the facilities to produce the camphor. This is the steamer, and you have the cottage here for the workers to stay. Usually they stay at a certain spot for a long time and then move on to the next spot. So therefore the Liao in Taiwanese is actually a small cottage, very simple cottage, only for you to stay overnight, to have somewhere to sleep, and then most of the time they have to work with the logs. And always you can see that the logs for distillation and all the logs will have to be chopped up, as you can see. So this is the chopped up thing. This was very similar to the footage you see in the film, right? And all the thing, because during the Japanese colonial time, the Japanese started to build some railroad. This is the branching of the railroad system with a special engine locomotive to bring the forest products out of the areas. Some of them were still in operation, like the one in Alishan. Have you been to Alishan? You should go. The mainland Chinese, they always want to come here as tourists to look around Taiwan. And there are two places as must go. No, not 101 actually. Alishan. Right, Alishan is actually for the forest products. And Riyuetan, Salmon Lake. And the only reason, I checked with them, why you have to go to Alishan and Riyuetan, they cannot tell me the exact reason. Because, say, 50 years ago, there was a very popular song in China, mainland China, like talking about the treasure island, right, Baodao, Taiwan, and they always in the words, they always Alishan and Riyuetan. So they were actually deep in their minds that they should go to the Alishan. I said, there's nothing to be seen in Alishan, and Riyuetan is really well. Have you been to Riyuetan? Right? Is it nice? Well, it's okay, right? You have seen things better. But for the Chinese, they all have to go there, just because of the little sun. Like for us, the Taiwanese, when we go to mainland China, you have to go to the Great Wall, the Changcheng. Have you been to Changcheng? Anything interesting?
It's made against the house. It's made against the house, so when I go there, I feel like a house. So
you feel advantage. Well, that's the thing, right? I think sometimes this kind of not unreasonable nostalgia or fantasy makes a very important role in the decision making. But this is the engine, the locomotive to bring the CAMPHOR out. Okay, that's now as you can see everywhere in this area, in Taoyuan, or even you go to Nantou County, you have all this CAMPHOR oil sold. Or if you go to Yilan, it's also like this. And here's the CAMPHOR packed and ready for export, and can be worked everywhere else. I think if you go to Southeast Asia, in this area, you have the same procedure of canning the CAMPHOR. But CAMPHOR once was actually a great item for Taiwanese, so we should still remember this chapter. Okay. So this about the CAMPHOR, and I'll show you some other films.